and welcome to Life by Abe. My name is Abe, and today we are going to interview an American actor, comedian, and all-around good guy. His name is Thom Borrillo. Welcome to the show, Thom.
Thank you.
How are you doing today?
I'm good. I'm good.
Yeah?
Had a nice breakfast with Abe here.
Yeah, awesome.
I'm wearing some of the salad dressing. I don't know if it shows, but no, I'm good. I'm good all.
Excellent.
I'm
Well,
not going to wear my glasses.
okay, that's fine. Thanks for coming on and agreeing to share your story.
All right.
So, how long have you been living overseas?
It's about 4 years and a month.
Okay.
I came for 6 months, and I've been here since.
And you've been here ever since.
Yeah.
Interesting. And so, why did you pick Vietnam?
I have no idea.
No idea.
No, it wasn't even on my list. I applied to Peru,
Okay.
Prague, Costa Rica, and Iceland.
Okay.
And I had a job lined up in Costa Rica where I would be a traveling team of teachers going to villages. And it was like a dream job, great pay. And 2 weeks before I was supposed to leave, they changed it. And I was going to be in the city center teaching corporate English to German execs. And they cut the pay. And I was like, so, but I hate the heat. Like, I'm from snow country. That's why I wanted to go somewhere cold, you know? And Peru has the mountains and the sea, and I don't know. Vietnam had a good pay system.
Okay.
And cheap living, and my sister taught in Hanoi years and years ago and loved it. And then my brother's wife is Vietnamese, and I liked her family. So I picked Vietnam.
Okay.
My buddy back home, he's an Aussie guy. He's like, let me get this right. You know, he's like, you don't even like it's warm. And I'm like, no. He goes, and you've moved to the center of the earth. And I'm like, yeah, yes, I have. And so, but I love it. Vietnamese people are, they're freaking kind.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, the day I didn't do a lot of research. I didn't. The day I stepped off the airplane, I was like, oh my God, what have I done? It's like an old man breathing on your neck on the bus.
Oh.
I was like, oh my God. I talk about it in my comedy, like, you know.
Okay.
Can I curse a little?
Yeah.
No, I talk about how your first 3 months here, everything is holy shit.
Mm-hmm.
You're like, holy shit, what does that smell? Holy shit, what is she eating? You know?
Okay.
Oh, look, a family of 5 on a motorbike with a turtle and a dog. Holy shit. Which happens. It happens.
Yeah. It happens a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I picked Vietnam, and then I think it takes about 6 months to get acclimated.
Okay.
And then it was time to go home, and I was like, no, I'm going to sign for a year. Mm-hmm. And that turned into 4. And I went back to America for 3 months, and it's just a mess. Mm-hmm. And it's so expensive, you know. I'd be back to working 50 hours a week and being broke. Mm-hmm. You know, a studio in Denver is $2,000.
Yeah.
And it's gun country. No guns in Vietnam.
Very, very few.
Very few, but our policemen wear peach pajamas with
they
white batons.
That they do.
And 80s belts. So,
Interesting.
Yeah. So there you go.
Okay, cool. Now, you obviously you wanted to move overseas. You just didn't know where, and you ended up here in Vietnam. What gave you that desire or that idea of maybe I should live in another country?
Well, my parents are both European. My dad's from Italy and the Bronx, and my mom is from Germany. So we spent a lot of summers over in Germany. We were not jet set. Everyone's like, oh, you're going to Europe. No, we would go to a small, tiny village, you know. But so I always loved traveling, and then, I don't know, a friend of mine, she's a teacher, and what she did, she went to Colombia for 6 months. And from there, she went to Spain for 6 months. And then she ended up in Nepal for 2 years. And came back to Denver and was like, you should do this. So my original plan was to bounce countries. But it's a lot more work than it sounds like, you know? So eventually you got to put some roots somewhere.
Okay.
But that was the original goal. And yeah. So I have my TEFL certificate it was about to expire.
Okay.
I had it for years in my back pocket and never, I had a lot. I was in a relationship, I had a dog, and I was taking care of my father. And so all three of those went away, and I was a mess. And I thought, I need change.
Yeah, so that's kind of the inspiration. It was almost maybe a healing moment for you, like once you decided, let's go.
Yeah, I put it off, and then when I finally got the job off, I did a TEFL when I got here.
Okay.
So I did a training program, which was ridiculous. We were taught by an angry 26-year-old.
Okay.
Her intro to us was, I'm 26, it's very English, I'm 26. I have emotional problems, I'm an alcoholic, and I have rage issues. And we're like, what's your name? What's your name? And she did, I'm sorry, but she had no teaching experience. We taught with puppet sticks.
Okay.
Anyway, thank God I took the other TEFL program and learned what I was supposed to be doing.
Interesting.
But it was good. I got job placement. I met a whole bunch of people, and they toured us around Vietnam to places, and so it was good.
Okay. Interesting. So
Did I answer the question?
you did. Okay. Like that helped out. And don't worry, answering the question is, I'm going to ask you a question, and I let you respond however you'd like, and then
I follow a lot of politics, so I'm determined to answer the questions. 'Cause nobody else does.
I like it. All right, cool. So obviously it wasn't a good experience for you back home. It wasn't a good time, and you decided to make that jump. Looking back, any regrets?
None.
None.
No. This is one of the best decisions in my life.
Okay.
It really, I was not happy, and I came here to find happiness.
Okay. And did you?
Yeah.
All right, cool. I see it, but remember, you want to answer the question.
Oh yeah. No, yeah, it's been great. I mean, if you want to switch your head over, go to Vietnam. I had no idea about Asia whatsoever, but the Vietnamese are some of the kindest people. I also have friends of every age from everywhere. Unfortunately, COVID, a lot of them went back home, but yeah, it's. I hang out with 24-year-olds. I hang out with 72-year-olds. I would never have guessed if you asked me when I was 40, like, hey, when you're 50, your two best friends are going to be a 70-year-old retired English teacher and an Indian guy. And I was like, I was like, yeah, but I love hanging out with them.
Cool. Yeah, and
they're like 78 and 72.
Wow. And the one thing everyone has in common is they left their home and they went out. So it's easier to kind of make friends across age barriers.
Yeah, everybody had a reason for coming here. I mean, I know there's a joke about expats like, oh, you're a loser in your country. No, I met some sketchy people. I'm like, they didn't want you back home, But no. Overall, it's been great.
Okay. Yeah. And like you said too, you do meet some characters, but then you also meet those people who are genuine and are like just awesome to be around. I've met some of my best friends living overseas. Yeah,
I think a lot of the people in the older age bracket, you get younger kids that are here, and they usually party themselves out after 6 months. But I think there's a lot of people where they got tired of busting their ass for a living and getting nowhere and just wanted to change. And the change in culture and worldview, I've traveled like crazy. I can afford, I only work, I only work like 8 to 18 hours a week.
Okay.
And it affords me a really good lifestyle. I have a 2-bedroom apartment with bills at the end of the month is $800. My apartment in Denver would be $4,500.
Yeah, I think if we took the apartments that you have here
Yeah.
and took them back to the U.S., for instance, I think my apartment would probably be like $5,000 to $7,000 a
Easy.
month. Like,
Yeah.
with all the amenities and everything else and
Yeah.
convenience and yeah, absolutely. So cool. So we're gonna talk about like pros and cons next.
Okay.
But before we go into pros and cons, I want to bring it a little bit creative, a little bit interesting, right up your alley.
Okay.
I want you to tell me the story of the worst thing that's happened to you in your 4 years and 1 month of living abroad.
I just thought of something real quick. When I found this T-shirt the other day, and it says Tokyo. And it has a big Japanese writing. My first week here, my buddy Alec, we were like, let's get some T-shirts, some Vietnam stuff. So I got that T-shirt, and he's like, why'd you buy that? And I'm like, I'm part of Vietnam now, man. I'm part of, and he just like, he goes, you didn't do a lot of research before you came here. I was like, nope. Tokyo's in Japan. But all right, so what do you want, the worst?
Yeah, like your worst experience of
Jesus.
living here.
Well, if you get, I've been hospitalized 6 times. I got in a motorbike accident. A woman came out, female ninja. We call them ninjas because they wear hoods, glasses, gloves, and they have no peripheral, and they don't look. So she came in, I thought she was merging, cut right across, and I broke 9 ribs.
Ow.
Yeah. And that's where I got my nickname at the hospital, Choyoy 20.
Okay.
What does Choyoy mean?
Troyoy
It means
like,
everything, right?
yeah, no, Troyoy means like wow. Oh, Troyoy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah, but when you do something wrong, people go, Choyoy! But then you're like, oh, Choyoy, we won. Yeah, so that was horrible. They don't give you pain medicine until you can tell them the level 1 through 10. And I got the woman that she could have worked at the bank. She was so slow. You know, she was like, what is your, I'm like, pain level 1 through 10. She's like, pain. I'm like, level 1. I'm like, 210. She's like, you finally got to 10. I'm like, Joy 20. So then when I would come back to the hospital for follow-ups, there was one kid, he's like, Joy 20. I was like, hey, what's up, brother? So yeah, I had 1 motorbike accident, and then I got MRSA.
Okay.
My toe turned purple one day, and I went to wash it in the tub, and my skin started coming off my foot,
Ooh.
like a horror movie.
Yeah.
And they were going to cut off 4 toes, but I was isolation unit for 21 days. I miraculously recovered everything.
Okay.
And then I got hit by a car on the anniversary, basically.
What?
And that time I broke 6 ribs, scapula fractures, chest, collapsed lung, and most of the skin on my heel. So then the heel had to have a skin graft, or they were going to amputate. But we'll get to the worst thing.
Oh, that's not even the
No.
worst.
And then that caused the knee infection. I had to get 4 knee operations.
Oh, wow.
They just kept opening it up. 4 of them in 13 days. And they were using oxy, fentanyl, morphine.
Nothing.
No. I was like, but, and then I went into a coma, which I can't say was bad because I wasn't, but I got aspirated pneumonia where you get food in your lung
Okay.
and it goes real quick. So worst experience though, I haven't had a worst. I mean, but beyond that,
Yeah.
my experiences over here have been pretty good.
Okay.
My worst thing was our Apex. I worked for a company. At the time I got the job, they were the company to work for, and they basically screwed everyone out of money. They still owe me about $4,000.
Wow.
And so getting through COVID
Was
without a full bank account was tricky, man.
yeah.
But most of my stuff has been pretty positive.
Okay.
If I think of a worst, I'll come up with it.
Okay. I mean, it for someone looking outside and seeing what's happened to you, they'd be like, "Oh my God, whatever." But you still got a great attitude about it. So,
I mean, fortunately, I have American insurance that covers emergencies.
Okay.
But check this out. When I got hit by the car the second time, 7 days in the ICU, 24 days in the hospital, and then X-rays, MRIs, CAT scans. CAT scan in America is $3,200. All the drugs they gave me came to $29,000. My brother's a doctor. In America, it would have been about $600,000.
Yeah.
So, and I was covered for 90% of that, 95.
Okay.
So, I was lucky.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, you have to have a good attitude.
And that goes on to another point. Anyone who's thinking about traveling, make sure that you have health insurance.
Yes.
Like-
Because as an expat over here, you are on probationary insurance. So you pay and you pay and you pay, and the second you make a claim, they drop you.
Yeah.
And then you're not covered. So
Interesting.
Yeah, there's some insurances that are good, but that overall, that's what they do.
Okay.
No, I have a good attitude because I almost died 3 times. Like, really, really died. And I don't think about it, you know, because the recovery is one day at a time. I mean, the pain that I went through, it happens.
Yeah.
Now it's just on the life resume.
Okay.
So, yeah.
And
I
so
mean-
lessons learned.
I hope so, man. I hope so. But yeah, no, I'm eating healthier. I'm not drinking anymore, and I didn't get in a wreck because I was drinking. You know, I got in a wreck because people drive crazy here.
Yeah.
There are no laws.
They're there, but everyone takes them more as guidance.
I mean, if I have to say my worst experiences, they would be dating stories
Okay.
that would not be appropriate
Oh.
for the audience.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, we'll do another interview about that, and we'll
Okay.
put that on a different channel.
I mean, no, because like when I've been in a jam, the Vietnamese people, when I was in a wheelchair in my building, it could have been horrible. But I had a friend help me move all the furniture against the wall, and I would say 3-4 times a week, strangers in my building were leaving me fruit, bringing me meals. I was trying to reach the top button on the vending machine. I couldn't reach it one day in my wheelchair. And a woman said, wait 20 minutes. What do you want? I'm like, I just want chocolate milk and some sugar-free tea, you know? This woman went and bought 3 bags of groceries, like soup, noodles, food, pushed me to my house, filled my refrigerator, wouldn't take a penny, and, you know, and it happened during COVID too, you know?
Yeah, when people aren't working and everything.
Well, yeah, no, but like the government over here, you know, America's freedom and nobody helped, you know, it was all for one. But here the government actually issued a statement saying, we are fighting this the best we can, but we can't do it without you. Look after your neighbors. And so in my building, we had a food in the lobby that the people that could, we were buying food, you know, and leaving it for other families, and it's cool.
Yeah.
There is a good, I mean, that's one thing.
So you got to have a genuine connection with your neighbors and with people here as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, my bad experiences are as much as business is shady here, to say the least.
Okay.
I
Can you give us like an example about that?
just like even when you move and you leave the place immaculate, you're not getting your money back, you know, or just I'm trying to think, you know, it's just watch yourself,
Okay.
you know,
Take precautions.
take precautions, you know.
All right.
Uh,
Interesting. So let's flip that now. We talked about the worst experience, and you're very chipper and grandiose about that. What about your best experience?
those I have a ton of.
Those you have a ton of.
Yeah.
Okay. What's your, let's say, number 1?
Oh, tweet.
Tweet. Okay.
That's a girl's name. Probably the best was my buddy Alec. We met on the second date, and Vietnam closed the borders to tourists during the beginning of COVID, but you could still travel in country. And So I had about $1,300, $1,400 where I said, I'm going to go travel for 7 days. And I was going to go alone to Hanoi and just work my way down. And my friend called me 2 days before. He goes, I quit my job. I'm coming with you. I said, okay. And there were no tourists anywhere, which is,
Yeah.
it's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
But consequently, it was the cheapest trip I've ever taken. You go to a hotel in Hanoi, and you're like, how much a night? They're like, 500. And you're like, I'll go over here. No, 100, 200, right? And that happened across the board. We went to Ha Long Bay. If you ever go to see something beautiful, Ha Long Bay, we saw 4 other tourists. 4.
Wow.
And there was, all the hotels were empty. And my buddy and I got a sweet deal because this is a sweet story. I was growing a mustache for Movember.
Okay.
It's a big thing in America. You grow a mustache.
Mustache November.
Then you shave it at a charity auction. Somebody can shave you. So I was growing a walrus mustache.
Okay.
And I'm traveling with a guy, my best friend, really good looking, piercing blue eyes, curly blonde hair. And so we stick out because I'm a big guy. But with my walrus mustache, everybody thought for sure he was my young boy toy. So everywhere we went, he's like, oh my God. Not that it's bad, but we're both straight guys. And we were in Kepa Island. And I said, he was staying in hostels. And I was staying in a hotel. I was like, let me get you a hotel room for the night, And he was like, fine. And he didn't like it, And the lady's like, you're so nice to him. I said, oh, thank you. And she said, I get you a special room. So she showed us his rooms. And, and they were nice. And they were supposed to be $700K a night, which is what?
It's like 30?
No, like 45.
Yeah, like 40. Yeah.
I was like, okay. She's like, but we give it to you 300. And I was like, all right. But I'd show you a special room. She takes us to the presidential suite. And this thing had a living room, everything. We're like, how much? 3.9 million a night. We're like, oh, no. But she's like, but for you two, 700. We're like, 700? And she was like, my husband, he died. But you are the most beautiful couple I have ever seen. She says, love finds a way. Old loves young. Young loves old. Man loves man. And so we were like, okay, we'll tell you in a second. And she left the room. He's like, so we're a couple again. And I'm like, we're a couple. I'm like, don't tell her. Don't fuck this up, But then so we would go down in the elevator. He's like, we got to tell her. I'm like, no. Grab my arm. And we would hook arms and walk through the lobby and wave to her. And we're like, okay. Turns out she owned the bike rental place. She owned the cafe that we were eating at. This woman was everywhere we went. So we had to keep up the charade. But then one night he came over to my apartment. I'm like, what are you doing? He goes, a robe. I've never stayed anywhere with a robe. Get your robe, man. Let's hang out. So then we took these pictures where he's in a chair, and I'm like, and we gave her a picture of us in the robes. Then we laughed and we're like, shit, we're going to be on the website. But that whole trip, we went to Hanoi, Ha Long Bay, Cap Ba. Then we took a ferry to Haiphong. It's like a dirty old version of Ho Chi Minh. We went to Ninh Binh, where they filmed King Kong. And
I think Avatar, too.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Ninh Binh is mind-blowing.
Oh.
And that was before my accident, so we were climbing temple after temple. Which is no joke for a 55-year-old guy. It says 1,000 steps to the top. But it's limestone. The steps are like this, and they're carved by monks 1 million years ago. Did you know that?
I did not know that, but I also went to Ninh Binh, and we were climbing some stairs to the top of a mountain where there was a pagoda, and we got about halfway, and then it started raining. And that was possibly one of the most dangerous situations I've been in.
No, because that shit's slippery.
Yeah.
No,
and their stones are uneven.
That's the problem. Some steps are like this, and then like this. So the last half of it, you're just doing squats.
Yeah.
all the way up a mountain, you know. But I'll tell you an impressive thing. We got to the Dragon Pagoda, and I was like, I'm taking a nap, right? Because you have to climb up to one place, and then the other temple's over there, so you got to go down and over. So we did both of those. And I was laying down looking up in the pagoda, and I was like, this is something about Vietnam. I was like, Alec, lay down, check this out. He's like, what? So what are we looking at? I'm like, what's missing? What don't you see? And he goes, oh shit, man, there is no graffiti. No, not one person. And we looked, we were like, nobody had carved their initials. Nobody had written something. Nobody drew a penis. This thing was immaculate, and it gets hundreds and hundreds of people. So this whole respect of the culture, you would never see that in America.
No.
Never.
No.
In any country, I don't think. Maybe some of the more religious countries.
Maybe where the punishment would be a lot stricter.
Cut your hand off. Yeah. So that whole trip, and then we went to Dalat, but a hurricane came. Da Nang, went to Dalat. We traveled for 24 days on $1,300.
Wow.
I was like, let's just keep going. I got more money. I mean, it was that, but that was because of COVID.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
But yeah. So that was a long story.
That is, but I mean, that is something great, and that happened to me as well. I went to Da Nang. I went to the Bana Hills, the Golden Hands Bridge.
Yeah.
And we were able to cross the bridge and see 0 people.
Really?
Yeah.
That would be nice.
I did it like 3 times that day, and the most people that we saw at one point was like 4 people as one family walking across the bridge the opposite direction.
I must say that was, the second I saw the bridge and pictures, I was like, there's this bridge with these giant hands, and I was like, fuck, I gotta go see this. And it looks over like an animal reserve, and then you get there, and it's not really a bridge, it's just sort of a giant, but I mean, it's still cool.
Yeah. It's not a bridge connecting 2 places. It's just a bridge that sticks out over a cliff. Yeah.
Did you go to the German village?
I did. When we went, a lot of things were closed, but we were able to see some of the stuff and see things, but a lot of the shops and everything else were closed.
It's the most baffling thing. I'm talking to the audience.
That's fine.
You have to take a gondola to the top over this, like, I don't know how big animal reserve, and you get to the top of this mountain, and then at the top you go even further up, and they have built a German replica European village. It's huge, from like medieval times, on top of this mountain, and all the you can rent period costumes and walk around in them, and the Vietnamese were all walking around these German lederhosen, and I grew up with Germans, so it's killing me. But we were like, we got to get costumes, you know? These big female ruffly dresses, and they were loving it. But I was like, whose idea was this? Like, I'm a millionaire. I'm going to build a medieval village on top of the middle of Vietnam.
I mean,
it's funny.
And they do this in China as well.
Oh, they do?
Yeah. So if you go to China, there are full European villages, and like,
you would think that would be the Japanese.
So I lived in Japan.
Yeah.
And I didn't see a full village. I'm not saying there isn't one. I just haven't seen it. But in Japan, close to where I was living, was an old, like a windmill and architecture similar to that of like a European, European country. And I was blown away because gorgeous, beautiful flowers, everything, and everything was the natural Japanese fauna and flora, but done in a different style.
Yeah.
And it was
I love the Japanese because they're into anything weird, crazy. You know, I have a bit in my comedy where I talk about horror movies.
Okay.
I'm like, there's horror movies and there's Japanese horror movies, and I'm like, every time I watch a Japanese movie, I think to myself, what the hell is wrong with the Japanese?
Have you been to Japan yet?
No.
Okay.
That's a big disappointment. No, I'm huge into like samurai culture and and the Japanese culture. Read a lot about it. I got a geisha
Okay.
samurai tattoo. So for my first year, I had saved about $3,000. So I go to Osaka and Kyoto, and COVID. And I was like, shit.
Okay.
So I waited to the next year on my birthday. You know,
And then-
instead of going to Japan, my buddy bought me like a moon cake with an anime girl. So next year, I was like, I'm going. Now, hospitalized. Then the next year, COVID. So my best friend, one of my best friend's son in America, he's an opera singer.
Okay.
And he's kicking butt. Young kid, too, like, well, 20, I guess he could be about 26. He's getting paid to go sing opera with the Japanese Symphony
Oh.
in December. So I think I'm going to fly and go see him sing.
You're not thinking about it. You're just gonna book the ticket.
I'm going to go.
Yeah, you book the ticket.
Tickets, I'll be sleeping in one of those little Japanese coffin hotels.
The capsule hotels.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because the tickets for this thing are not cheap. Japan's not cheap.
No. And I'll be interested to see what you think about Japan afterwards. I've already done a whole video talking about my comparisons, but it'd be good to see your point of view after you come
I may not come back.
You might not. You might not.
I'm in love with Japanese women.
Okay. And the
pretty much all of
culture and everything else too, like you're talking about. So you're good.
I remember I had friends teaching after college in Japan. I was like, I'll come visit, and he's like, they're a very different culture, Tom, and I don't mean to hurt your feelings, but I don't think you'd like it, and I don't think they'd like you. I was a little wilder back then. You know?
After my experience, I would agree with him, but it's also something that you obviously have a passion for it, a love for it. You have to see that for yourself. Like you have to go and, okay, what I know versus what reality is going to be two different things, and you're going to be like, okay, yeah. But again, that's just me. Go have that experience, and then we'll talk when you get back.
Okay.
All right, cool. So we talked about your.
I thought of another one of my great experiences.
Okay.
It was a nightmare, but it was great. I lived in Funyan. That's Funyan. We were pretty much only expats 4 years ago. And so everyone knew us. They'd take pictures with us. And we lived off the market. So we'd walk through the market every day to go to Vinmart or wherever. But during COVID, it was all closed. And one thing about the Vietnamese, they kind of like karaoke. They love karaoke.
Just a little bit.
They'll talk to you like this, but when they sing karaoke, like la 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 la. So we're going through, and everything's closed because COVID. So there are like 8 karaoke parties going on, and we're walking through. Everyone's, oh, come on, karaoke, come on. We're like, no. And we saw this family we knew, and they're like, come on, everyone wants us to eat with them. We're like, okay, we'll eat with you, and we're sitting there eating, and sometimes you don't know what you're eating. Like you'd eat this dried fish thing. I was like, oh, that's amazing. So I tried the other fish thing. Oh. So my buddy and I were like, this was our symbol. Like, don't touch this shit. You're like, hey, he's like, like. But I say to the guy, I'm like, you know why I like you? I touch a lot. I was like, no karaoke. And he goes, karaoke? And Grandpa goes in. He came out with a freaking machine like a boombox from the 80s, huge.
Okay.
And he goes, karaoke, you sing. And I was like, oh, I don't sing. Tom's a famous actor. He can sing. And I was like, mother. So I get them, and they're like, Hotel California. I happen to be one person that I kind of hate the Eagles.
Okay.
Except for Take It Easy, I like that one. And I can sing it, that song. I'm singing it. It's the longest song in history. But by the time I was halfway through, all the other karaoke parties had shut down, and we're all coming over. I had like 40 people. I'm like, Hotel California! Hotel California! You know, they're singing along.
Yeah.
Not very well. Oh my God. for weeks. I was a Hotel California guy. I mean, I'd walk through the market and they physically grab me. Hey, no, here, Hotel California, you know. Mm-hmm. And I was like, he's like, you're the everybody wanted me to sing at their house. I would get the bike to drop me off this far down so I could go through all the back alleys to get. I had to change all my ways home for weeks, but it was kind of glorious.
You were already a famous actor, but now you got a super intense fan base. And
I'm not a famous actor though. He just threw that in to make sure I got screwed.
Okay, interesting. And so we talked about your best experiences. We talked about your worst experiences, and they've been varied. We've had a great chat, and thank you very much for sharing that. Let's go into like pros and cons of living overseas. Like, what would you say would be like your top 2 pros and top 2 cons?
The pro is just seeing the world. Because when you move to a different country, you got to check your head. You have to go in with complete humility, and you respect the culture. I see people come over here and they're like, "Ew, that's gross. What are they eating? Why would they eat?" And I'm like, "Shut up. You're in their country." But one of the greatest pros is just getting out of your backyard, you know, and seeing a different culture. I knew nothing about Asia. I never had an interest. I was like South America and Europe, and it's been eye-opening. It's a great culture, you know. So the biggest pro is just the change it instills in you, right? Because you kind of have to rediscover yourself. And back home, where everybody knows you and has preconceived conceptions about you, you know, even if you change, you're still going to be that guy. And this was a chance to reset, and I haven't screwed it up yet, you know. So that's one of the big pros, is just the culture, just different culture. The food over here is excellent. I mean, it's a little limited, but just the different food. The music I even like now. And the language, which when you first get here, Vietnamese has, every word is one syllable, 6 tones. And I would drive me crazy. So I'm like, cha da, cha da. No, da is not ice, da is ice. It takes you about 3 or 4 years to really hear the tones. And so I do try to learn the language. It's hard. So pros are, it's so cheap to live here.
Okay.
It's so affordable. Like, where else can I work 18 hours and have a huge apartment? I mean, you're having a coffee, what does that cost? Like 80 cents or $1?
Yeah, like $1.
Yeah. You know, I don't drink, but beer out here. I mean, I went to a steak dinner. We had crab cakes, 2 steaks, wine, seltzer, and 2 sides. And it was probably about $53.
Okay.
You can't do that in America.
That'd be like 1 steak.
But it, you know, it's so affordable, and it's nice. It makes life easier. You don't. The stress is so much lighter. Mm-hmm. I mean, the traffic will stress you, but it's just a nicer life. You know, we're not meant to work 5-6 days a week. I don't think. I'm not. At least let's just say that. But yeah. So it's just the lifestyle over here, and most, like I said before, most of the expats that come here, that's what they got tired of. You know, my friend was very successful in Ireland. He's like, couldn't do another week. It's like I was emotionally, mentally spent, and now, you know, he's here and he's like, he doesn't like teaching, but he's like, well, at least it's only a few hours. I mean, I teach 4 hours, you know, and then I go home.
Yeah. And you're done for the day, and you're...
Yeah, I don't do the 8-hour weekend days.
Okay.
Or, that's a good thing about having an injured leg. I'm like, I can't stand for that long, you know?
Yeah.
So some of the cons, some of the cultural stuff make you nuts. The amount of bureaucracy and paperwork just to stay in country is insane. You know, yeah, like it. The banks here are ridiculous. I have a whole comedy routine about why there's no bank robbery movies in Vietnam. It's so slow. I had to change my password the other day. There were 5 tellers, 2 people on the window, and me. It took an hour 5.
Wow.
An hour 5. You give them the password and they're like, Visa? I'm like, just keep flipping the pages. It's maddening. It's maddening. There's no urgency. And the lunch hour drives me nuts. They have lunch from 11:30
to 1.
That's when I want to get shit done. I can't tell you how many times you go to the bank and it's closed, or you walk into a clinic and everyone's sleeping on the floor. That's what I joke about in the bank robbery. I'm like, best time to rob it would be lunch. You're like, everybody on the ground. Oh, good, you're all sleeping. All right, you know. But it's just insane. And even if you walk in, there's nobody getting up off that floor.
No.
It's lunchtime.
Yeah.
You know? And then a lot of places, if they close at 5, that means they're locking the door at 4:30. Like, they're, you know.
Yeah, 5 o'clock they're out.
Yeah. It's just stuff like that. Like, you know, Tet the first year was awful because the banks are closed for 12 days. And I didn't know to get money out. And, you know, I didn't have that much money anyway. But every bank machine was dry, you know. And, yeah, just certain things. I mean, but you get used to it, you know. Don't wear shorts to a government office.
Ooh.
Oh, drove all the way across town, waited in line, and then they were like, nope.
Yeah, and wear a collared shirt as well.
Collared shirt. I haven't been pulled over, well, because I don't have a bike, but when I did, you get pulled over a lot if you're a big white guy. I don't know, maybe black guy too, I don't know. But it's, you know, pay your bribes. But I used to pay my rent in cash. And I learned, because one day I had 12 million on me. And they look. The Vietnamese always look in your wallet. And they have no problem reaching in and grabbing. Makes me crazy. But the cops saw that and they were like, 2 million. You know? So now if I have a lot of money, I put it in my sock. And I only will go out with 300 in my wallet. You know, because if they see 300, they'll be reasonable. They're like, 40.
Yeah.
You know? They're going to get paid, but they're not going to leave you with nothing.
Yeah.
So, but you see it in Tao Dien. It's very Western. There's a lot of expats. At the height of the holidays, they sit right, there's only 3 exit ramps to the highway. They just sit there every morning. They're like, hi Vietnamese, hi, oh, you, over, you, over. And they'll have a line of people waiting to get tickets, bribes.
Yeah.
So, I mean, some of the negatives, the language is just impossible. But enough people in Ho Chi Minh, speak English. You don't need to speak Vietnamese. But when you do travel, like I like to, and go to some of the smaller areas, you better have some, Vietnamese, or be an extremely good mime, like me, you know.
I mean, you also have the apps like Google Translate.
Google Translate, though.
It doesn't work always.
No. I have a bit about that, too, because I'm like, I don't learn, because, you know, like, these girls that I'm talking to, their translations, I remember I asked one girl, I'm like, I'll take you to a nice dinner on Thursday. And she wrote, I will extend you. I was like, oh my, aren't you bad? She followed it with, what warehouse do you groove? And I'm like, oh my God, she's going to extend me. We're going to have sex in a warehouse. It's going to be awesome. So that's one of my buddy's sayings now. He's like, I'm like, what are you doing Thursday? He's like, I don't know. What warehouse do you groove? But if I can be a little off color, dirty, this one girl, we were gonna eat lunch. I forgot about it, and she goes, "Have you eaten?" I was like, "Oh, I just ate." And she goes, "Oh, too bad." And then she wrote back, "I am so easily eaten today." I was like, I have 2 lunches.
Ew, man, this is
So I speak Google Translate now because it's far more interesting.
that. Yeah, you could probably even start like an Instagram account or something with the different comments and people die
Only
laughing.
want to talk in Google Translate. Don't need English. I don't even know what we were talking about.
We were talking about pros and cons, but like,
No, it's well, in Phu Nhan, one of the cons is I can't eat Vietnamese every day.
Okay.
And in Phu Nhan, man, that was your options. Or you order Grab food. But I didn't have money for Grab food. And so the street food it's actually amazing.
yeah.
It's usually better than the restaurants. Like the pho lady over here that I go to, I don't know what it is. I don't know what magic is in her broth, but her pho broth, like not all pho is the same.
Yeah.
But I've eaten some weird stuff. Like I was at a place one day, and the only thing there was this noodles and chicken place, and it was like this hot spicy chicken, and I was like, oh, it was good. And I was like, okay, I'll get it. It wasn't chicken at all. It was pig ear.
Oh.
And pig ear is nasty. It's just cartilage, so it just gets a coating of greasy, like bacon fat, and then you chew on. I was just like, and what's the other one? Mom tom,
Yeah.
shrimp paste.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I can smell that if it's in the room.
And that is that is something that you will find in Vietnam specifically. Is there are different smells. Like different seasons have different smells, and
Yes.
different holidays, different food is eaten, and it has a different pungent smell that comes
Well,
with it.
because my old apartment, I was on the corner, and there was the hallway venting windows, and all my Vietnamese neighbors cook with their doors open. And this one woman, man, she loved fish and durian.
Okay.
And it would come out and it would go right into my apartment, like bathroom window. And some durian, there's some smellier durians. There's different kinds. But I would come into my apartment and it just stunk, like reeked. I'd have to like 5 incense. I'm like, God, stop cooking with the door open, or cook something like beef, something I like, But yeah, I was going out with my friend Rose. We were eating friends, and she loves like what is it, bún bò Huế?
Bún bò Huế.
Bún bò Huế, which is really good until you get the big, fat chunk of blood, pig's blood, and I'm like, no, but I'll go out to eat with her, and like really traditional stuff. She had a soup one day. It was blood soup. I had a chicken foot, then it had a pork spine, and an ear. I was like, you're not eating that. I'm like, she's like, just try it. I'm like, I couldn't, But I'm open to all of it.
Well, something I found interesting is I'll try it. They'll try to explain. I'm like, no. If you explain it, I probably won't eat it.
Yeah.
Right? Let me try it first, and then let me ask you what it is afterwards.
Yeah.
When I'm ready to know. With the exception of durian. I've had durian many times, and I'm just, no. So now it's like, does it have durian in it? Yeah. All right, no.
No, see, it sticks out to me too.
Yeah.
Now I remember at our old English center, our head CM, she did not like me. And everything about America she hated. Like, she's like, oh, this Mr. Swinger American, Playboy American. That's what she called me. I'm like, have you ever seen me with a girl? But one day, Sophia, I was like, they're like, she hates you so much. She bought ice cream for everyone. She's like, everyone, I'm buying ice cream. Everyone got chocolate or vanilla covered in chocolate, and she bought me durian. I was like, no, She acted like she ran out of chocolate. I'm like, no. You know damn well what you're doing, girl. Give me a durian popsicle. Sucker. I tried hop di long,
Oh, okay. Yeah.
which, if you don't know, it's
Fertilized
fertilized duck egg.
Yeah.
And you cut the top off, and there's like the little chicken embryo,
The duck embryo.
duck embryo.
Yeah.
And you just do it like a shooter. The juice in that, it's delicious. Have you had it yet?
No.
It's freaking delicious. You like bone marrow.
Yeah.
It's like that.
Really?
But then you shoot that duck in, and you just start chomping it, and you feel the little bones and beating. You're just psychologically, and you know, if you eat it with the Vietnamese, they get like 10 of them.
Yeah.
And I was done after one.
Uh,
I was like, I can't do that one again.
Okay.
But I go to D4 with my friend's wife. There's a place, Seafood Street, and you can't even get down there in a car. And she was like, "What do you like?" And I'm like, "I don't even know what any of this shit is. It's everything from the ocean. The Vietnamese will eat everything out of the ocean. But man, they do clams there. They do chili with salt and kumquat juice, and then they roast it with the clam, and then put basil and peanut sauce. But we have blood clams. Have you had those?
yeah. So
Not for me.
I enjoy going to those restaurants. I enjoy District 4 and Seafood Street a lot. And sorry if you hear background noise. There is a street right behind us. I'm trying to make it as quiet as possible, but maybe a con of Ho Chi Minh City is there's never any quiet places.
That I was getting to that.
Yeah.
It is. Some days take real endurance. The traffic here is madness. Bikes, people will be going over the bridge, realize instead of going to the end of the bridge and flipping a U-turn, they'll turn around on the bridge, drive against traffic. They'll drive on the sidewalks. If you pull up to a light, you can push everyone, you can touch everyone around you, and so you have to be like a fish in a pool or like in the ocean. Just don't be the front fish,
Yeah.
you know. But man, yeah, the noise is. That's why I live here, because it's quieter.
Yeah.
But when I lived in Phun Nhan, the Buddhist temple at 5 a.m. bong, bong, the car horns, the roosters, the Bap Sao Day guy, morning, noon, and night. Bap Sao Day! Bap Sao, I was like, it's 3 in the morning, man, I don't want corn. I don't want fried corn. Go to bed. But he was ruthless.
Yeah. Oh, I mean,
So, yeah,
you gotta make that money when you can.
yeah. No, but there's certain days I call my buddy, I'm like, I'm having a bad Vietnam day. There's certain days I walk out my door, I'm like, I can't do it. And I'll just stay inside, go to the pool, and because I just like, I can't face the chaos. Because it is a little chaotic.
Only a little?
A little. It's chaotic.
All right.
It's, you know, at least the traffic moves.
Yeah.
You know? But, yeah, some days it's, I know, the cutting in line. The cutting in line. Nobody waits in line. They will cut in front of you all the time, especially if you're a big guy. You'll be paying. I was paying the other day. I have my food there. I have my money out. Lady came, moved my shit out of the way, and went to pay for her stuff. I don't care if she's 78. I mean, I'll kick her ass. So I eventually just took my money and paid around her head. But yeah, the cutting in line. I'll be at the movies. I was on crutches, and I'm giving people the space so they can buy their ticket. These kids, like 6 of them, just step right in front of me. So I just poked them in the ass with my cane. I'm like, "Wait, you don't see me?" And I have a lot of New York things, and the Vietnamese do not like when you raise your voice.
Yeah.
It shuts them down. So I reserve that for special occasions.
Yeah.
But that took me a long time to be like, you can't lose your shit over here.
Yeah.
You
No.
know, even if you're angry, you gotta. They'll smile at you and say "fuck you."
Yeah.
You know,
But even if-
you can't yell.
Yeah. And even if you're in the right, the second you raise your voice, you lose.
Yeah.
Yeah. Except for if it's foreigner and foreigner, then you can just get loud and everyone will just watch and see what happens. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
No, but it does make me nuts. I'm like, you know, JK has a great joke about it, about the guy who missed a helicopter because he waited in line. But, sorry, JK. I credit you, though. JK Hobson. Yeah, there's certain things like that. And no one is on time. Time means nothing. Real estate agent, I'll meet you at 10. Nope. She'll roll in at 11. Oh, you come early? I'm like, no, you come late. Oh, but we say around 10. I'm like, it's 11. Oh, it's okay. I've dated 6 women, and I timed it. I've spent 3 years waiting for women to show up. It's baffling. Like, my water pressure was going, shh. So they said, oh, he'll be there 10 o'clock Friday. It didn't come at all. And they said Sunday he'll be there at 10 o'clock. I left at 1:30. And around 4:30 they call me, we're here, where are you? It's like, I left, you know? Yeah, the time.
Yeah.
Even my students, they'll just roll in 20 minutes late. I'm like, yeah.
I get that. I have I teach in university, and the university has a 20-minute rule. No. So I answer the door one time after class starts. At the 19-minute mark, let everyone in who's late, and then after that, you just stand outside.
Yeah, the school I was at in Denver, the Denver school, they would, 5 minutes into class, they lock the door. Hell yeah.
Well, it is something that it needs to be addressed and needs to be worked on. But I find that it's not only here; it's in many places around the world.
Really?
Yeah. I've
Probably the French.
I've talked to
I can see the French.
we have those influences, but I've talked to a lot of people, and there are only a handful of countries where people show up at the time that they say, or within a reasonable amount of time.
Well, there's a lot of South Africans here. If they say I'm coming now,
yeah, they're
now means I'll be there.
yeah.
Now means I'm coming, but they'll be there 2 hours.
Yeah.
You know, there's now, and another one where you're just like, yeah. If you say now, I'm like, I ain't gonna wait for you, man. You said now, I'm on to you.
Okay. Interesting. So we talked about pros, we talked about cons, we've got some great stories in there. Now let's kind of go into, looking back, you said you didn't do any research or much research about Vietnam. If a young family member or friend said, hey, Tom, I want to move or I want to travel overseas, what would be like your number one piece of advice for them before they made the journey? They're still thinking about it, but they want to get your expertise. What would you tell them to do?
Number one thing?
Yeah.
Check your head at the door.
Okay.
Humility. Come into the country and open your eyes and remember that you're a guest in that country, right? That's, I think, a lot of people forget. They're like, this. I'm like, no, this is their country. So being open to absorbing the culture and learning the rules and learning there's a lot of respect things here that you need to learn. And that would be my biggest thing, you're traveling abroad, you're looking for new horizons, be a newcomer.
Okay.
Be a newcomer, and there's gonna be things you like and don't like, and in time you'll learn what they are and you avoid it, But I see, especially like a lot of the younger people, they come over here acting a mess, just getting hammered. They're loud, they're entitled, and I'm like, go home. A lot of these kids traveling on dad's credit card, thinking the world owes them a buzz. acting like jackasses. You know, that's not tolerated here. I mean, and you know the political landscape. People don't talk politics here. Oh, I love it. You know, but yeah, knowing the boundaries, and and the other thing is the Vietnamese are very curious about your culture. So, yeah, that's my biggest thing is, you know, immerse yourself into the country.
Okay.
You know, absorb. I went to, when I first got here, I'm from an Italian family, right? You come to my house, you're getting hugged and kissed.
Yeah.
And I went to Tet, and you have to bow to the grandmother when you come in the house. She's this tiny woman. She's like, "This is my grandmother," and she looked at me like this, and I said, "Come here." I like hugged her and kissed her. This loud party just went silent. They're like, I was like, "Whoa, sorry." And she's like, "Yeah, we don't do that." My friend, she's like, "Well, why do you do that?" And I'm like, I hug people, sorry. And she's like, and the grandma was like, "Oh, no, it's okay." She loved it. Everyone else was horrified. She goes, "Yeah, we don't hug." Like PDA here, even when I'm like had a girlfriend where we kiss at home. You know, I remember I was going out with a woman, she had a kid, and we were at a courtyard at night. We had dinner, and I was like, I went to kiss her, and she just looked around like angry, like, "What do you?" I'm like, "You have a kid, people know you've kissed somebody, but no, there's like PDA, big taboo, you know." So it's knowing these things, especially if you're going to travel.
Yeah.
You know, if you go from here to Hanoi is a lot more. You're coming to our city, you know, don't act a fool. They're not as open to the foreigners, I find. You know, especially Old Town Hanoi. They speak English, but they're not going to until they see you make an effort, you know. So that's the biggest one. And Vietnam, the weather is a huge adjustment. For a guy who was in Colorado where we have no humidity and the air is cool, some days, March and April, next year I will not be here in March and April. You can't even leave the house.
Yeah.
You're like, "I'm going to do this today." You walk outside, you're like, "I am not going anywhere." I mean, it's just horrid.
3 showers a day.
Yep, 3
Yeah.
showers a day for sure.
No.
I had a bathtub in my old place. I would fill it in the morning. And periodically through the day, I just, you know, the water was cold. I just get down in that water. But yeah. And like the horn honking. Right? How many people in America get shot for honking their horn? This entire country would be dead.
Yeah.
If they let Americans. But here you have to learn that the honks are usually a warning. Hey, I'm coming around the corner. It's for your own safety, you know? And when I first started riding a bike, people were honking at me. I'm like, "Fuck you. Don't do that. Don't do that." And because that's a big thing here. You flip somebody off, that's monumental,
Yeah.
you know?
Well, I find it,
I
yes.
think it went
It's
off.
okay. I find it, yeah. But I also found that if you are reasonably justified, you'll have other people follow and like do the same thing. And then that one person now understands that the mistake that they made, and they're like, "Oh, okay." But if it's just you by yourself, yeah, they're just gonna be like,
That's my teaching methodology.
yeah.
Mob rules. I used to in Apex, we had Apex dollars, and at the beginning of class, I'd tape a 10, a 5, a couple of 1s, and we had a wheel with everyone's name on it, and I'd be like, reading books and pencils in 15 seconds, 10, 9, and if everybody had their pencils and everything, we'd spin the wheel, and somebody would win the money. But there were a couple of clowns that would never listen to me. So I'd be like, "Oh," and I'd take the money down. I'm like, "David, sorry, David's not ready." And the other kids would be like, so I'm not the jerk, you know? But it got to the point where people would, as soon as we said it, 5 kids would be like, "David, pencil." They'd all hand pencils to him, like, get your shit together, man. I want that money. So yeah, mob rules is a great way of teaching. Because the kids will, you step on their toes. You mess with teacher, everyone watches. But you cut into their throw of the sticky ball, you got hell to pay.
Yeah. Great classroom management.
Yes. Teachers use it.
Awesome. So we talked about, your stories. We talked about everything else. If you went back in time to the day that you were leaving, or say a week before you were leaving, what would you change after, like, through what you've learned so far? Is there anything that you would have changed? Anything that you would have brought with you?
I would have got a cheaper storage facility.
Oh, okay.
No, I think I would have got one of these GoPro cameras.
Okay.
No, fortunately, like, the company that I was coming to train, they gave us an idea of needs, and my sister had been in Vietnam before. She's like, Tom, if you need something, you buy it there cheap. I came over with one giant backpack, a giant, and 2 suitcases.
Okay.
That was it. No, I don't know if I would have changed anything. I had a good pair of walking shoes and some good sandals. Maybe I would have brought more shoes because they don't have my size.
Okay.
It's hard to find here. But no, I came with very little, and I found that I didn't need it. I mean, that drives me nuts about this place. I like wearing layers. I remember I finally went to Deloitte, and my buddy was like, "You're so happy." I'm like, "I have 2 shirts on and blue jeans. Look at it, I'm in layers." I get tired of life in a t-shirt and shorts. I like to dress up. But no, I thought, when I get there, I'll acquire things. And about after a year and a half, I had to move. I put it on one of those little blue trucks. Everything I owned. It took me an afternoon. And I laughed because my friends in America redone their house. And they're like, look at it. And my buddy, all he wears is golf shirts and work clothes, right? So I look at our walk-in closet. And it was full. And I was like, dude, how many shirts do you own? I'm like, do you guys want to see what I have? And I had a big cabinet in my old place. I had 5 dress shirts for work. I had 2 dress pair of pants. Now I have about 7. And I had t-shirts and my 3 sets of shoes. I'm like, these are all my clothes, And they're like, I'm like, it makes life easy. I don't have to make choices, It was hard throwing away all my American clothes. I gave them away, but I was a smooth dresser. But that's what I mean about this country. It's just a simpler life. You don't need all that shit. And also, 90% of the apartments you rent are already furnished. So I own a microwave, a blender, and a teapot. Otherwise, everything else came with my place.
Yeah, that's one of the things that I enjoy about Vietnam is the ability to go to a different apartment and walk in and just the clothes that you have on your back and you're good to go. Yeah.
I mean, I'd lived in my other place, which was huge. So I had acquired a couch and a kitchen table and a beautiful coffee table. But I went on Facebook and I sold everything in the afternoon, for nothing. But then I donated my wheelchair and everything to my cleaning ladies because her mom's in a wheelchair. So I gave away all my medical equipment that I had. Not gonna. I kept the arm braces. But it's just, it's so. Well, there was a quote that I read about emotional baggage, where somebody said, at some point in your life, you have to decide: am I going to travel with suitcases or a backpack? Right? And that's what I learned about all the bad shit that's happened to you. You can say, oh, this happened to me. I can bitch all I want. Well, I had to learn to walk 3 times. Thank God I can fucking walk. Right? Was it easy? No. But I don't like looking back on it because when I reflect on it, it's horrifying. The pain that I've been living with, and what I had to do, and being tied to beds, and horrible. And like when I was in the coma, they were going to show me pictures, and my doctor said, "You weren't there for it. Don't look at it. You don't need that in your head." And I was like, "You're right." So, what was the question?
Like we were just talking, and you were sharing your
about
experiences,
life.
and like you were talking about you can bring a backpack or suitcases with you,
but
and then you're talking about emotional baggage.
Life unencumbered.
Yeah.
I mean, when I moved to America, man, oh my God, it's like, how do I have all this? And now, like, if I move tomorrow to a different country, I have the bare necessities, and I can part with my T-shirts, and because they have T-shirts in every country now. So, so that is one of the easier things. It's amazing how much stress it takes out of your life,
Like you're not an extreme minimalist, but you're more focused now on having less things, and does this bring value to my life? Does this help me? And then if it doesn't,
my
goodbye.
biggest problem is I got a lot of Lego. Because when I was in a wheelchair and recovering, I got into Lego Masters.
Okay.
So I have like a Lego detective office that goes to this 1940s movie theater. And now I have a fishing wharf. And then next to it, I have a Japanese village being built.
Oh my gosh.
So, but fortunately, I have this huge long cabinet. Because I was like, what am I going to do with this? And the other thing I have, well, so, Apex, we weren't working in COVID. Barely, I wasn't. So my friend, he does Dropboxing. He buys broken phones. So people go through phones here like crazy. And he repairs them, and he buys them for like $500K, sells them for $2 mil, $3 mil. So I love figurines, right? And then the sexy, cute anime figurines. Well, during COVID, Japan outlawed all the X-rated, too risque anime and hentai statues.
Okay.
You couldn't get them in Japan anymore. And I saw them, and I looked at one of mine, and I was like, I have that one. And I looked on Amazon, or eBay, somebody was selling it for $268.
Whoa.
And it got sold. And my buddy's like, how much did you pay for it? I'm like, $24. So I started researching, and in the first month and a half, I made $1,800.
Whoa.
But, so I kept buying more. And then it became a problem. This is when I was still drinking. Don't drink and shop online. Or don't do it from your hospital bed on morphine.
Okay.
My friend was like, I'm taking your
credit card.
credit card.
Yeah.
He's like, did you buy all these things? I'm like, when I was on morphine in the hospital. Anyway, but then COVID, nobody had money left. So now I have 36 of these things, which is not going to help getting a girlfriend. But I have them inside a cabinet.
Okay.
And if I want, I can open and display. But otherwise, there's only 4 hanging around. But yeah, don't shop and do morphine. I was like, I came out of the hospital, and he's like, dude, you got packages. And I'm like, what? What? He goes, yeah, you bought 10 things. But I want to see what's in these. And the first box we opened were these black velvet slip-on loafers.
Okay.
With a bejeweled bumblebee on it. And I was like, he's like, what the hell were you thinking? I'm like, I guess they look pretty cool when you're hired, But what's funny is I use them I wear them when I do comedy.
Okay.
You know how many people have like, I love those shoes.
Yeah.
I was like, oh.
It's now part of your brand.
Yeah, I'm like, you too can have a pair.
Interesting. All right, cool. So we've talked a little bit about your experiences being abroad and like just your life, your pros and cons, and you've got some great stories. What I kind of want to go on to now is like the initial idea for leaving and moving abroad. When did you have it, and then when did you finally move abroad? Like how long?
Yeah, I'll tell you one more real quick big con. Vietnam, I'm 3,800 miles away from my family. You know, Costa Rica I could have visited anytime. It's hard. If you're family-oriented, friend-oriented, it's really hard because it's a 14, not even that, it's 20 hours flying, and, you know, that's a real big drawback. I do get homesick.
Yeah.
Now, when did I get I always wanted to.
Okay.
I always wanted to travel more. Like when I was a student in high school, I did 3 months in France on student exchange, and I don't know if we were 3 months, but and then, you know, our family would go to Germany, and my mom insisted on, that was her thing. She's like, travel is the best education, and I agree fully with that. I think you learn so much by traveling.
Okay.
You know, getting out of your backyard, even if it's in the States, going to different states, and so it was just an idea of mine. And then I went to Prague, and I saw Czech women, and I'm like, I must live there. And I hate to say it, I women do figure into where I live. That's why I would never live in the South in America. Like, honey, I can't listen to you speak. But yeah, and then once I saw my friend do it, I saw friends doing it, and they're like, oh, it's awesome. And they would go for 6 months, and they're like, oh, it's great. And because my friend that went to Colombia and then Spain and Nepal, she taught for 1 more year, and she's moved to Turkey, and now she's in Italy. And so, yeah, I probably had the thought in my head for 3 years, 4 years. Even when I was in a relationship, I was talking to my girlfriend, like, you know. But when we broke up, that's when I was like, because we were both actors, so everyone knew Thom and Emily, and a lot more people liked Emily better than me. I found that out. So I was just very isolated, and I love strangers. I love meeting strangers.
Okay.
I'm really good at it. People are like, you don't hang out a lot. I'm like, I hang out all the time. Hang out at the coffee shop with the 2 old guys, you know. So I got my TEFL, but then my dad was also sick. He was declining with dementia, and I was there. And then my certificate was only good if you didn't use it within 3 years. And I had about 2 months left before it expired, and my dad was like, don't not do it because of me. Go. And he went to live down where my brother was, and unfortunately he died the second week I was here. But you put it off and you put it off because it is daunting. Leaving your home, you know, age 50, starting over. But you're not, you are starting over, but you're not. You're just going somewhere else, I guess.
Okay.
So yeah, it took me about 3 years, and then finally I was just miserable. I was doing nothing. I wasn't calling people. I was just going into a dark hole, and I was just like, I gotta find out how to be happy again. I was always a happy person. And Pursuit of Happiness. I never saw the movie. Will Smith. No, but I really was like, I need a reset. I don't care where it is. Costa Rica sounded great, but I also have to think about making money too. So, yeah. And then when my time was up to leave here, so the nice thing about TEFL is once you use it, it's a lifetime thing. But after 6 months, I was like, I'm not leaving now. I'm just getting used to it, you know? So I don't know if I'll be here forever. I'm trying to get my German passport, and I eventually like to live in Germany. I love Germany. Or somewhere in Europe, somewhere where there's green and rain.
Okay.
This living in an oven,
Not for you.
it's all right.
Well, that was actually going to be my next question was, like, if you could pick anywhere, where would you live for the rest of your life? But, like...
If I could pick anywhere.
Yeah, anywhere.
I do have this love affair with South America. I don't know what it is about Peru. I look at the pictures. but I love Prague as a city. But I think Germany, I love the German people. They got a bad rep. They're actually wonderful people. But I just love the layout, the country, the little towns and cities. It's beautiful. I speak the language. Also, if I went back to America, I'd probably move to Toronto. That's America. It's North America. Right?
It's North America. Yeah.
I don't think I could live in the States again.
Okay.
I don't know. It's just the gun violence has to stop. And I knew 3 people in 1 year, all killed in 3 separate shootings. That circle's getting closer to me, you know? And the anger and the Trumpians, and I don't want that shit. And I don't want to work to live, you know? I want work to be part of my life.
I understand.
So where would you live?
I actually have there's a town I went to in Brazil, beach town that I fell in love with. The last time I was there, it took a lot for me to actually leave.
Leave?
Yeah, I had enough money that I could have stayed there for 2 years without working at all.
Where's that?
I'm not going to tell you. That's my little secret, and like.
That ain't right.
I know, but until I buy a property there, or a few properties there, that place is like a secret.
I know what this is about. You don't want people like me living in your neighborhood.
Oh, I would love to have you in my neighborhood. I'll tell you after I move. But you know, I was also thinking like South America. But I've put down roots here. You know, and I'm engaged now, so I don't know if I could go anywhere else. Like I could, like you. I don't think I could go back and live in the U.S. If I knew that I was only there for a short amount of time, I could possibly pull that off.
Yeah.
But I probably would go someplace where it's not expensive. I don't need a car, but those two right there would be.
Well, that's not paying car insurance, not paying car repairs. Do you know what? Huge. So nice.
Oh yeah.
Just got rid. I sold my car for nothing to my friend, and just getting unburdened.
Yeah.
You know. I don't know. I would like to live in a smaller town. There's a place called Roermond in Netherlands.
Okay.
And America has a treaty where you can go as you say, I'm an acting teacher, and I can be a citizen for 2 years.
Okay.
And Roermond is by the German border. And my sister's in Amsterdam, so it's about an hour from Amsterdam, an hour and a half. But it's an old town that was nothing but monasteries and abbeys. And it's all preserved, but they've converted them into houses and these apartments. And it's on every major train stop. So you're right by all the big cities.
Oh.
And it's surrounded by forests. I would love to have Greyhound again. I would love to have a Greyhound.
Okay.
Or 2.
Okay.
That's one of my biggest loves. If I went back to America, I thought you can buy little islands in Portland in the middle. Like buy a little island in the river and have a Greyhound rescue. And they could live out their lives. I can take out their dogs.
Interesting. Yeah, that's an interesting dream, but obviously it's not what you're looking for at the moment. You're happy being out here, so good. I now kind of want to turn it over to you. Normally I would ask about like any information, any books or media that you consume that help to spark the interest, but from what you were talking about, you've always wanted to go, so like
spark the interest of travel.
Yeah. Like trying to get out and inspire you to do different things.
I think my parents were the inspiration.
Okay.
You know, both my parents were immigrants. My dad, he didn't have much say in it. You know, he's a baby, but and they just instilled the value of seeing other places and going other places, and they were always respectful of all different cultures, and so yeah, I got that bug, you know, because I'd hang out with people that they never left like I'm talking like 40 miles from their house,
Yeah.
you know? And I don't know. I just feel like it would have been a missed opportunity. I felt like, at least go out and try. It's a year of your life. And after the second year, I'm like, fuck, I could have already gone and come back. And nothing happened this year. And I did the same shit. I went to barbecues, worked the same job. I went to the movies. I'm like, what do I got to lose? I'm alone. You know, my ex is with somebody else. My dog is gone. And I was like, and that was mainly the driving point. When I realized I had this dream and hadn't acted on it. You know?
Yeah.
And I went, what did I do of value this year? I was like, I could have done this in Japan. You know? I could have gone to ice. I could have gone, like,
Anywhere.
yeah. My friend wants me to go to Nepal. That seems a little out there for me.
Okay.
But she loves it.
I can see you out there. I
Yeah.
can see you out there. And so.
My little furry out. So, yeah.
All right. Interesting. Interesting. So now I'm going to kind of turn it over to you. We're going to wrap it up. This is going to be the end of the interview.
Okay.
But, what are you doing? What are you getting into? Who is Thom Borrillo?
Who's Thom Borrillo? Handsome, sexy man. Well, now that I've recovered, I'm just really trying to appreciate life, eat better, gotta quit smoking, but I'm exercising. As far as who I am, I finally am getting some opportunities to act and direct. I just taught a big workshop for Saigon players, and it may turn into a 6-week course.
Okay.
And I love, I have an MFA, Master of Fine Arts, which I call motherfucking art degree. But it was so nice to talk about what I know about. And Shakespeare, kids ask me about Shakespeare. I know everything. Like, not everything, but a lot.
Yeah.
And when I came here, I needed a hobby, because that's one thing in Ho Chi Minh. There's not enough nightlife that doesn't involve eating and drinking. That could be a better music, some more arts, you know? So I'd love to be part of the expanding art scene. I just did a movie, and I'm hosting now. I'm hosting at the Cocktail Festival this weekend.
Okay.
I have to keep it clean because it's a family event.
It is.
A cocktail event?
Yep.
The Cocktail Festival is a family event.
I mean, you've been here long enough to see families go out
Yeah.
to establishments for drinking.
Like, this is where I met Mommy.
Yeah.
And I started doing stand-up when I moved here. And I did improv comedy all my life. But I never had the knack for stand-up. And here, man, my material writes itself. I probably have 3.5 hours of stage material.
Wow.
Well, yeah, because I get tired of people that do the same jokes for a year. Audiences do too. And so I try and do new stuff all the time. And open mics, people aren't paying. So, hey, I'm going to try my new stuff.
Well, I look forward to seeing you. I'll be there at the Cocktail Festival this weekend.
All right. I'll be there from 5 to 7:30.
Okay.
And there, yeah.
Are you going to be performing from 5 until 7:30, or is it just...
I'm just introducing acts.
Okay.
I'm going to talk. I'll talk to the audience a little. I'll probably bring some of the vendors up about their specialty cocktails. I bartended for 23 years,
Okay.
so I can talk a little about bar stories.
Interesting.
Before mixologists. Mixologists. So stupid.
Hey,
My days, they'd be like, hey, you behind the stick? You're like, yeah.
they're making drinks. They're making a name for themselves. They're changing it.
We make cocktails too.
Yeah.
I bartended at a country club. It's 90-year-olds. You're making sidecars, old fashions, grasshoppers. Like every order is 20 minutes. But all of a sudden, they're mixologists, but a lot of mixologists can't bartend.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, that was neat how it took you 20 minutes to make a drink. It all started with flair. I blamed Tom Cruise in that shitty movie. After that, it was all downhill.
It's all downhill.
So,
all right.
yeah, that's about what I do.
Okay.
I'm determined to paint a rhino.
A rhino.
They're hard.
Okay.
They're hard to draw. They're a weird animal.
Oh, so like just put it on a painting, not get a sculpture and then paint it out.
No, well, you'll find one at the zoo and graffiti, tag him. No, like yeah, I want to paint one.
Okay.
I don't really know how to paint. I kind of do, but
Interesting.
learn.
Well, thank you very much for
Thanks.
coming on. It was a
fun.
pleasure. If you guys want to know anything else, please feel free to drop some questions in the comments down below, and I'll pass them on to Thom. Other than that, have a good one.
Wait, let's do our Vietnamese stuff. Oh yeah, I have a kid in my class has 2 thumbs.
Oh, really?
So I'm like, you don't have to do this. You can just do that. It is weird. And he always wants to show it to me. I'm like, get that fucking thing out of my face. I'm gonna have a nose with a, like thumb growing out of it.
Kids.
All right.
All right. Until the next time, stay awesome, stay travel. See you soon. Peace.
Bye.